morning, everybody. I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. We have a 2 Kamishibai Storytime this month. Okay? I hope you continue to enjoy it. Okay? Today's Kamishibai is something to do with Oni. Oni? What's that? That's ogre, right? Usually, in the Japanese folk tales, Onis are portrayed as kind of bad guys because they give hard time, right? But this story is a little bit different. So I want you to pay attention and find out how different, all right? And I have to confess, I didn't know this story, okay? So I was very, very interested to read it, okay? And at later time, I had to research a little bit, okay, around this area that this story was taking place, okay? So I'll mention it to you later time, okay? So let's start, okay? Kamishibai time! Now, first I have to open it, right? Okay, like open sesame. There it is. And I love the illustrations. That's very unique and so bold, and I love it. Okay. The title is The Oni Who Sank to the Bottom of the Sea. Wow. This story is adapted by Miyoko Matsutani and illustrated by Eigoro Futamata. And the publisher is Doshinsha, Tokyo, Japan. Long ago, deep in the mountains, there lived an Oni. The Oni had a baby Oni who was still very small and was always running around and sometimes into his father's legs, because this tickled the father's toes, and because the baby was so dear to him, the father Oni could not help but smile. Often they played together. The father Oni picked his son up between his fingers and tossed him toward the distant mountains. Whoosh! Yippee! I made it! I made it! The baby Oni landed just on the top of a big rock and clapped his hands. Come, Daddy! Come on! You come too! The father Oni was so gigantic that he could hop over to the mountain in one jump. Then he would pick the baby Oni up again and whoosh! Toss him over to a mountain even farther away. This was how the father Oni brought his baby son up, and by throwing him from mountain to mountain. When the baby Oni grew tired, his father would give him a ride on his shoulders. And they would sing this song. Okay. My baby boy, what's your wish? What do you want? And baby Oni says, I want the sun up in the sky. No, you can't have the sun, my boy. I want the moon up so high. You can't have the moon. I want the wind to help me fly. You can't have the wind. Then give your horns to me. One day, when they are praying and singing in this manner, they suddenly found that they had followed the river much farther down the mountain than usual. As they stopped to rest, an old man came walking toward them, leading his grandson by the hand. Without even noticing that on his feet, the old man buried something in the ground, and placing some sacred branches on either side of it, began to pray very earnestly. The Oni thought the old man's actions were very strange, so he asked, "Old man, what are you doing?" His voice was like thunder falling from the sky, and it startled the old man, who looked up and up and up. Wow! There was a face of gigantic Oni. "Old man, what are you doing?" I am from the village up the road on the bay. The waves of the sea have been getting rougher and rougher. First, they swept away one member of my family, then two, and then three. Now, my grandson and I are the only ones left. So that is why I am bearing a pot with offerings inside it, and we are praying that it may appease the anger of the gods." "What? You say the sea is rough?" The Oni leaped up to a lookout point high up on one of the mountains. He could see the blue waters of the sea shining very innocently in the sun, as if they had never done anyone any harm. "You mean to tell me that that sea is rough?" "Well, yes. It is calm right now, but on a stormy day, huge waves come crashing toward the shore and wash people and boat away with them. And if we had even one tiny island in our bay, it would protect us from the waves, and waters would always be calm. But of course, that's only wishful thinking." The Oni never forgot what the old man said that day. One morning, many months later, the Oni awoke to a terrible storm. The trees on the mountains trembled in the wind, as if they are on the verge of being blown away. The rain fell in torrents like a waterfall. The rocks from the cliffs gave away and tumbled down the mountainside with a crash. Just then, what flashed through the Oni's mind was the image of the old man and his grandson. "Oh, I just can't sit here. The old man and grandson are going to be swallowed up by the sea unless I do something." Clasping his arms around a huge boulder, the side of the mountain, which was standing in front of his cave, the Oni rocked it back and forth until the crack. Let's see. It it came loose. Boom! A boom! Boom! He threw it to the ground. Daddy! The baby Oni was frightened and began to cry. But the father Oni said nothing. He clasped his arms around another enormous boulder and rocked it back and forth until crack! It also came loose. Daddy! Daddy! The baby Oni began to cry again. Don't cry, son. The Oni made a hole in each of the boulders and stuck them onto the end of an iron rod. Daddy, where are you going? Down to the bay. Now you wait for me here. No, I want to go too. I want to go too. Tears sprang from the baby's Oni's eyes, and he fell to the ground, kicking his feet and crying. Finally, his father had no choice but to take him. Well then, climb onto one of these boulders. When the baby Oni climbed on, the father Oni, struggling with all his might, lifted the two great rocks off the ground. Step by painful step, the Oni made his way over the mountains, but the boulders he was carrying were so big and so heavy that he felt as if his back were going to break. Even though he gritted his teeth and struggled on, finally he reached the sea. The roar. Like a vicious monster, the ocean bared its white fangs and crashed furiously onto the beach. On the shore, the villagers were waving bamboo poles with scythes tied to the end, chanting, "Storm, storm, go away, leave our village, leave our bay." This was supposed to be some sort of magic spell to quiet the sea, but what good could it possibly do? The waves swelled up so high they seemed to be touching the sky, and then they surged toward the beach with roar. Just then, look! It's the Oni we met the other day. The old man and his grandson shouted a greeting to him. When he saw them, the Oni smiled. Okay, here goes. The Oni took a step into the water, but then suddenly remembered the baby Oni was still sitting on one of the boulders. Get off, son, and wait for me here. No, I'm going too. I want to go with you. No, it's dangerous. I won't be afraid if I am with you. Well, then you may come, but don't cry. I won't cry. The Oni plunged his feet deep into the ocean. Help! An Oni! There's an Oni! Until that moment, the villagers had been looking out toward the sea and had not even noticed the Oni. Suddenly, they panicked and fell over each other trying to run away. The Oni did not even look in their direction as he walked straight onwards, deeper into the sea. And a crash, roar, crash, roar. The waves rushed wildly in toward the shore, crashing against the Oni's body, but the Oni shut his mouth tightly and pressed onward. The waves beat against him, filling his eyes, ears, and nose with water. The baby Oni began to cry, "Daddy, Daddy, I am scared!" Burn! Burn! Dawn! Dawn! A powerful water swept the Oni off his feet, and he stumbled heavily. As the father Oni began to fall, he held his son high up in the air with one hand, so that the baby Oni would not drown as the father Oni sank under the waves. "Daddy! Daddy! Daddy!" The baby Oni cried and cried until he could cry no longer. He had cried so long and so hard that he had turned into stone. When you are all grown up, you might think about visiting a bay called Kure on the island of Shikoku. There, you can still see the two boulders the Oni carried into the bay to protect the village. You can still see the baby Oni rock and the holes that held the iron rod are still there too. Even today, these rocks protect the people from the stormy sea. And then this is the end of the story. Okay. So you can ask your parent to check this. Okay. Japan has like 4 big islands. From northern part is Hokkaido, middle part is Honshu, and then Shikoku, which this story takes place. Okay? Actually taking place, quote. And then Kyushu, and then lots of islands. Okay? I am from northern part. This story is from southern part. Okay? And actually I checked, and you can find a picture of 2 boulders. All right? So this is Kure and Shikoku, Japan. Okay, it looks like a very nice, neat fishing village. Probably then and then now too, maybe plus more other businesses. Okay, so did you like this story? Okay, how this is different from many other Japanese folk tales that the Onis were portrayed as a kind of bad guys. He was very kind, wasn't he? You know, he lost his life, okay? And but he tried to help villagers, okay, from the storm, okay, or storms. Okay? I'm sure every year typhoon come to Japan, or and then other country around that area, okay, and so he was very kind, and very kind Oni. Okay? He didn't care what happened to his life. Okay? So you find out, check it, okay, please, right? And then did you like the illustrations? Okay, that's a very important part to when you read picture books. Okay, pay attention many different things in the page. right? And you can find out more, not just storylines. You can find more little things just looking at illustrations. So illustrations are very, very important. Yes. And sometimes not only that the main characters, but buildings and lines and trees and mountains, and then why this is nothing here, just white part of white page, all sorts of things that create very good stories. Okay, so next time you pay attention, right? Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I am finding more. Okay, I think you may change how to listen or how to look at story book or picture book. Okay, good. So I'm going to close it. Okay, the big boulders, right? Yeah. And I'm going to show you today's craft. Okay. Today's craft is now. So Hyoshigi is not only telling children at the beginning of story time, but also I use it. It's like, okay, I need a little bit like a big sound, right? Or scary sound. Then I use this method. Okay. Like this. Okay? Good. So today I'm going to show you like this. Can you see it? Okay, caroling. Right? It's a very simple craft, right? And no need to make like a hole like this, all right? You can roll. If you have a just a plain paper, any paper, okay? You can just roll it, okay? Oops, rolling. Okay. Either you can glue it, you can tape it, okay? All right, or even just taping it at the end, that will be okay, like this, okay? And then you can make a face, okay? And then this part, I used crepe paper because it's very easy to handle, right? And then yarn, okay? But you can create anything. This is supposed to be hat, but you can just draw. Okay. Some years ago, I did this, and with my grandchildren, and one of them was still very, very young, and then she made like this. You know, for her it was difficult to make, so she just drew. Okay, that's good. So I'm still keeping it, right? And I glued the cotton balls and then leftover Christmas ornaments. Okay, and I might post it on our website, and then I am going to put more like background things, just simple holiday type papers to make it more holiday like. Okay, so this is today's craft. Okay, so next time, which is the last one, I am going to show you a few small holiday craft. Okay, it's time like it's a wonderful time that you can create all sort of craft with joy, and then I just love it. So I make lots of things, different things. Okay, hopefully you will enjoy whatever you can find at home. The materials you can find at home, you can use it. All right. Good. All right. So I hope you stay healthy and you stay safe. Okay, and we'll see you next time. And thank you so much for joining today. Okay, do you remember thank you in different languages? Okay, arigato, toda, okay, tak, gracias, grazie, and so forth. Okay, all right. So I think I forgot toda too, all right? And I might add more next time, okay? All right, so thank you so much and stay safe, all right? Bye-bye, bye, take care.